begin. In H.P. Lovecraft's The Shadow over Innsmouth, we are introduced to one of the most infamous cults in the mythos, the esoteric order of Dagon. And like any cult, there are certain rights, rules, and regulations for those who would be members, or rather, those forced under its control. Specifically mentioned in the story are 3 oaths members are expected to take. I thought it'd be interesting to check out these 3 oaths, so let's do that. Before we get into this video, Arkham Reporter is going to present a quick promotional clip for the first time ever on this channel. Raid Shadow Legends. It's an amazing game you might not have heard of. You suck! Okay, calm down, I'm not that hard up for money. What we have here is something I think you may like. A collection of pins made into this bizarre art style representing various entities from the Lovecraft mythos. What I really liked about these pins is the design. The hints at Maori or South Sea art, very tribalistic and foreign. It made me feel like it came from some isolated tribe who came into contact with some nameless being, much like the Kanakys in The Shadow over Innsmouth. So if you like the look of these and perhaps want to spice up your battle vest if you're a metalhead, or on whatever jackets or bags you wear, then check out the links in this video's description below. I should note I wasn't paid to say this, nor am I making any profit if you choose to buy one of these. I just thought it was cool and maybe I thought some of you would like it. Anyway, back to the video. Before getting into these oaths, I think laying down some context first will make things easier to understand, and also clear up why these oaths were made. What exactly happened in Innsmouth all those years before the narrator of The Shadow over Innsmouth, Robert Olmsted, came to town? Innsmouth used to be a thriving fishing village in the New England area, but did also face harder times as well, financially speaking. It was in these harder times that a ship captain named Obed Marsh discovered in the South Sea Islands a group of Kanakys who were in contact and trade with the Deep Ones, a race of immortal fish-like beings. Eager to get the gold the Deep Ones had to offer, he initially just traded with the Kanakys, but when those Kanakys got massacred by others of their ethnic group for their repugnant dealings with the Deep Ones, Obed cut out the middleman basically and brought the worship of Deep Ones to Innsmouth with the acquisition of gold in mind. Despite a desire merely for the Deep One's gold, Obed Marsh eventually grew further and further into religious zealotry, with young people going missing, offerings to the deep. He established the esoteric order of Dagon, but is eventually jailed by the townsfolk for his actions and criminal behavior. But the Deep Ones come to the surface and release Obed and his followers, fellow sailors turned cultists, and half the townsfolk are massacred in one night. The esoteric order of Dagon takes control of Innsmouth, and all survivors are told to take the oath of Dagon, and in time 2 more oaths are added. With these oaths in place, the secret of Innsmouth is kept to itself, and outsiders are shunned for many decades, left merely to speculate of what became of that once beautiful town. So, finally, what exactly are these oaths? Well, let's have a look. The first oath of Dagon is one of silence.
Never rat on your friends, and always keep your mouth shut.
Yeah, essentially this. Were the world to learn of what happened in Innsmouth, how half its population was massacred by inhuman fishmen, it would incur a reaction from the US government surely, as we see in the beginning of the story. The Deep Ones didn't really fear human rebellion as such. It was more that it would be an inconvenience to them to have to deal with humanity, were humanity to find out about them. So it was simply easier to pretend that they did not exist. For this reason, outsiders to Innsmouth are shunned, and talking to them is seen as a taboo. The second oath of Dagon seems to be one of providing assistance to the Deep Ones, helping them in whatever logistical manner they desire. An example of this would be, as old Zadok Allen puts it in the story, entertaining certain guests, essentially having a full-blooded Deep One stay in one's home or provide shelter in the town. One can assume other assistance required would be providing food as well as any other whims the Deep Ones might have. The third oath of Dagon is quite simply, you have to have sex with a Deep One and produce offspring, those being the ones known for having the Innsmouth look. If this oath applied to both human males and human females, it isn't really stated. We just know that Zadok Allen in the story refused outright to have sex with a Deep One. Can't really blame the guy. Lovecraft didn't outright state that sex was involved in this third oath, but it is clearly implied. How else do you get the mixed race denizens of Innsmouth? It also makes sense that interbreeding was the key to the third oath, given that Zadok states that the Deep Ones have a desire to breed with humans, perhaps in efforts to increase their numbers. If you're a sick pervert like I am and want to see what a woman getting wrecked by a Deep One looks like, you can check out my review of NEONOMICON, a graphic novel by Alan Moore, who had none of the squeamishness that Lovecraft had when it came to showing interspecies erotica. It's not an amazing graphic novel, I wouldn't really recommend it much, but if you want to see a Deep One give a chick a facial, well, maybe it's for you. Only the classiest of content from the Arkham Reporter, right? Despite these oaths all seemingly putting the human elements of the cult at the complete mercy of the Deep Ones, it seems that the Deep Ones do agree to treat the humans of Innsmouth, at least the ones who joined the cult, with some respect and rights. The way Zadok states this, a jury of peers being necessary to convict him of a crime, does sound much more reasonable than a regular cult would behave, simply killing the person. Nonetheless, given the hostility to outsiders, it also does sound like one is not really given much choice about accepting at least that first oath. The second and third oaths seem completely optional, though obviously encouraged. Zadok refused the third oath, but was not seemingly punished for it. So, in conclusion, it seems to me that the cult started out as a mere means for Obed Marsh to secure the gold the Deep Ones could provide, something needed in the hard times Innsmouth faced, and the esoteric order of Dagon was formed more out of a logistical necessity to maintain relations with the Deep Ones, though of course many mixed race denizens enjoyed the idea of potentially having eternal life. So what are your thoughts on the oaths of Dagon? If you were Zadok Allen in his position, what would you do? And as a side note, a question for you. I never figured this out. Why the hell didn't Zadok just run away? Even if he escaped with only the clothes on his back, surely it would have been preferable to be some homeless drifter in some other normal city or town than being a drunken alcoholic in a stinking fishy cult-controlled town. I mean, they let him roam around as he pleased. Surely escape was possible, right? I could never figure that out. Why did he stay? Anyway, let me hear your opinions below, and I hope everyone is doing really well. I'm glad to be back making videos, and I hope you like this one, even if it was a bit short. See you guys in the next one, and thanks for watching.